Good morning and welcome to Ewetopia Farms. Let's go inside and see what today has in store for us. So today we got Caboodle and Cat on the bottle holder. I could put Kid on there too because these guys take the bottle really easy. But those two are really fast, and as soon as they're done they'll knock Kit off. So this way I can make sure Kit has her fair share. But oftentimes your bottle babies are kind of like the misfits, like not like nice shape. But those two right there are extremely above average. You can see the width and length on those guys already. And like I've said before, little Kit, she's small, but she's built perfect too. She's got good muscling length on her. And she's got the personality, and she's a survivor. She was only born at like a pound. So she's done really, really well. And over in the next pen, remember I did got the lamb ready for being released. Well, now we're gonna get Mom ready for being released. Okay, well that was Arnie deworming the ewe. We deworm them when they leave the jug, the mothers. We just use Ivomec just to ensure that there was no parasites overwintering in them. And then we trim the hooves, give her a quick check over to make sure her udder's good, so the lamb's not sucking off one side. And then they're ready to go out into the big group pen. Okay, now we're going to let these guys out into the group pen. So during lambing season, these jugs would be full and they would walk down this alleyway. But the alleyway's still here so that they can just walk on down. And halfway to the barn we have a gate that blocks the rest of the alleyway, so we can bring sheep from either side and block it either way. Here she comes. We got walk-through gate here. Now that lamb has got to find his mom in the group. There we go. There, she went. The other mom went to see her. That's not her mom. There's the mom. So she ran right over to it, and he's nervous. So the nervous response for a lamb is to go nurse. Now these two they're the last two in. When they're a little confused. It always takes a first-time mom a little while to figure it out. Oh, and now she's got a stealer on her already. And she doesn't understand that that's a no-no. So she's actually letting the wrong lamb nurse. That's your lammy, and you're letting another one nurse. You realize that. Okay. Well, so we know that she would accept other lambs. That's extremely rare that another mom will let the lamb nurse. But first timers are often confused about the rules of the game. Hi, buddies. These are the bottle babies on the bottle feeder. When they were younger, we put the bottles every hole, but now that they're bigger and taking up more space, we do every other hole. So for those of you who follow along every day, a couple of days ago I showed you a ram lamb who knocked one of his little skers off. And he's right over here. Here he is now. He'd knocked one of his little skers off, and today he put your head down. There. He's knocked them both off. You can see where they were. But he must have had another battle, or even, he doesn't even have to be fighting. He can just be rubbing against something, and he's knocked them both off there. Buddy, I'm trying to show you on YouTube, and you're making a fool of me with your bad behavior. Yes. But they're gone now anyway. So those little scurs generally don't stick around. They usually always come off. And I guess the whole point of our videos is as we go through and do our chores each day, random things will come up and we can talk about them and maybe learn from things, maybe things you hadn't known before or hadn't thought about. And hi there, sweetheart. Are you in the box? And just those scurs made me thought that maybe I could talk to you a bit about horned sheep. In the past, a lot of breeds were horned. It was quite common. In fact, most of these polled breeds have some horned sheep in them. That's why occasionally you do get the scurs. But over time, farmers have decided to breed that horn gene out in preference of the polled, and polled means that they have no horns. And there are a lot of reasons for breeding horns out when you're working with domestic animals. For one thing, if you have an encounter with a horned animal, it could be a lot more dangerous if they are aggressive. The bonus of the horns, though, is that if you want to catch them, they're really good handles for holding on to and dragging them around with you instead of getting a halter. But the aggression thing is a big one, not just against humans, but against other sheep in the flock. I used to have Shetlands, as you know, and the rams are horned, and a lot of times the rams would get battling with each other, and they would actually get entwined in each other's horns, so they'd be stuck together by their horns, and that is really, really difficult to undo them. Likewise, the horns get tangled in fences, feeders, you name it, they'll get stuck on it. And if they snap that horn off, it is a major bleeder. Big bleeding on horns. Also, if you have horned sheep in with polled sheep, the horned sheep know that they've got horns, and they're usually always the ones at the feeder and will push the other ones away because they've got the advantage and they know it. So just for handling and safety, the horn has been bred out, and although horned are extremely attractive in my eyes, farming with them, I think you have to be set up totally differently. And also with horned rams, or horned ewes too can be horned. The horns don't always grow perfectly. In fact, it's rare to find perfect horns. So what will happen is the horns grow out. If they have curled horns, the horn will start to curl, and sometimes it curls into the back of their skull, into their cheek, and the horns will actually kill the animal themselves because it will crush and puncture the skull. So you're always picking, if you have horned rams, you're always picking for good wide horns that won't do that. But it's another issue you have to deal with. So it's much easier and more practical, I think, just to run polled animals, and it's the same with the cattle industry and everything. Horns are just another problem you have to deal with. This is how we roll out the hay. We place it at the bottom of our feeder. These bars are spaced 7.5 inches apart, but you saw that we are changing that. So we're going to change it to 8-inch spacings, just so no one gets their head stuck. And we roll the bale down. This barn's getting dry hay. This is the ewes that are drying up. And we have a few rams in here as well. So it's first cut dry hay. Just basically maintenance quality hay. It's not for growing or milking or anything like that. It's just the basic stuff. It's a mixture of grasses and alfalfa, but it's mainly grasses. And this hay, I talked about quality of hay and first cut usually being lower quality, and it's because it grows so long. Like, it's hard to tell how long this is, but it's really long. Like, it can get 3 feet tall before you can actually get in the fields where it's dry enough that you can bring in the equipment and get it cut. So at that point it's forming seed heads already, and all the nutrition is being leached out of the leaves. So it's a lower quality hay, and that's why people nowadays have gone to well, if they have TMR, they can put it in the silo, chop it early, because it's okay if the hay is wet. And otherwise, people like us will use wrapped hay. So with wrapped hay, it's okay if it's wet, as long as you can get the equipment into the fields without getting stuck and damaging your fields. You can go in a lot earlier, so the hay will be shorter. It won't have gone to seed yet, and you'll have a much better quality hay from the first cut. The downfall with us in wrapped hay is that because it's got moisture in it, that adds weight to the hay. So it's harder for us to roll out. Dry bales are much easier to roll out. But it's a quick way to feed sheep, whether it's wrapped hay or dry hay. This is what sheep naturally eat: grasses, grain, and other plants are not natural for sheep. Goats are browsers. They will eat a more varied diet, but sheep basically are only interested in grasses. So if someone says their sheep are grass-fed, technically they could stay indoors and eat hay, and that would count as being grass-fed. I think some people think grass-fed means that they're free back to nature, grazing in the fields, which some of them are, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. And so that, to feed 150 sheep, and we can hold 200 in here, that took, well, you saw while I was talking, only a couple of minutes to feed that many sheep. So it's pretty quick. It's quicker than feeding TMR. I gotta say, in general, Suffolks are a lot calmer and friendlier than our Dorsets. But Kevin here is the exception to the rule. He always greets you at the barn. He'll come running up. He just loves you, loves everybody. Yeah, and it makes you smile every morning because he'll come running across the pen to you. Hey, sweetheart. You guys are all nice. Hi, you're very pretty. Number 2. Again, and he's the exception to the Suffolk rule too. He is not friendly. It's not that he's mean, but most of my rams come up for petting, and he has no interest in that. But you look like you would. Come here. Would you like to come up? Yeah, you would. You would. Yeah, you would. You got a dot on you. That means you're a keeper. You got a dot too. There's number 2. This is 79. I still haven't made a final decision on 85. And then I gotta go through all these white sheep. Yes, I would know, Kevin. You've already got a dot, even though we haven't sorted the white ones yet. Yeah, you've got a dot. You're set. You're set. Kevin, are you gonna follow me around while I check the rams out? We're looking for good spreads on our rams on their feet. When I say good spread, I mean I can see daylight between their legs. They're not really tight together. It's a major fault that we found in Dorsets in our area. Finding good conformation on them seems to be a lot more difficult than finding a good Suffolk ram. So we're always looking to improve that here. So right now we are out of creep feed in our bin. So Arnie's got our grinder mixer here, and he's gonna load up some creep feed into our bin, which will last us, I don't know, a few days for feeding the lambs. You guys, why would you fight like that? We just missed that, but those two just ran up to each other and smacked heads. And you see the little guy at the front, he hurt his head a little bit. Why would you guys do that? It was uncalled for. That's all it takes to fill it up. And then he just uses buckets to spread it out for everyone. And we have plenty of room at the feeders, but there's always one who thinks that if she jumps on the others, she'll have more space. That one that just went in there with the red dot, he's the quad. He's done extremely well for a quad. Generally, quads are the smaller in the group. There's lots of room for everyone, you guys, if you just go down the line. So it's all silent on the ram side here, and the ewes are being fed. The screaming's going on because the ewe lambs haven't been fed yet, and they're in a little bit of a tizzy. Are you guys in a tizzy? Did you not get yours yet? There it is. There it is. And again, you get the leapers. If I leap in on top of everyone, I'm going to get it. But right at the very end, there's lots of space. Some sheep are smart and will run straight to the end and wait for it. And others just can't figure it out. Now everyone's happy. These are some of the Dorset ewes. And the crosses. Hi, honey. Hi. How you doing? Here they are for their afternoon feeding. See, when you only have a few bottle babies, then they're cute and that's not a problem at all. Because these guys are a bunch of cuties. We'll see what happens if the big guys finish first. They're going to go right to knock Kid off. And then I'm going to have to intervene. See how wide they all are? Oh, but he's finished, you see. He's a guzzler. He's going to try to get more out of that one. But now he's realized that everybody else is still on there and his is gone. Oh, see that? And that's where Bigger... Oh, and Kit. See, she's a feisty thing. Bigger and horned. Good for her. Are going to always be the bullies. Or they're going to try really hard. And to be honest, Kit gets a bottle the size of the big guys. So she's okay if she doesn't get it all. Because these guys are much bigger than she is. Buddy, that's a tough one. See, they're new on the bottle feeder, so he's figuring out how to knock them off. But are you not figuring out how to get back on? Well, I think they're actually done, and everyone got their fair share. So these front tires are the tires on the tractor that we were having such a hard time getting replacements for. They said this was a special rim and they don't make that size rim anymore, and so like you can't get tires. Anyway, after a lot of running around, we found a guy who got a pair of guess they're semi-used tires out of the United States, and we got them today. $3,500 for 2 tires. Farming is expensive. So these are our afternoon checks. Hi, Chewy. I see you're here again. Good girl. You're a good girl. We just fed these guys. Yes, we just fed you. You don't need any more. Well, it's that time of day again. we're gonna call that a day. And hopefully you guys will join us again tomorrow for the next episode at Ewetopia Farms. Bye for now.